we did it.
We're here to finally talk about
Exchange.
straight culture.
Yeah. We've heard that they're out there.
Honestly, here's what I'm gonna say. I don't think I could watch just a regular
Dating show.
straight dating show. I mean, I guess I watched Singles Inferno.
But you watched one season of Singles Inferno.
I did watch one.
It didn't make you like, oh, let me now watch the others.
But I like the straight
You like more
reality
of the
shows that have like a twist.
A twist or like just bigger stakes rather than just like, is there chemistry?
Right.
You like this and Change Days are your two girls.
Yes.
Because
it's people at the end of their ropes. Yes. Which is a bit iconic.
We love the drama. As gays, we love drama.
It's true.
So that's when we see straight people.
Yes, straight people have to be dramatic for us to like visualize
them. And like acknowledge them.
Right. Understand what's going on for them. So I'm wearing a bit of like a K-drama moment. A little like neutral turtleneck. Feels very on brand.
A lot of neutrals in this season.
Big for neutrals.
Which is so funny because they have the prettiest pink in the Talking Heads.
Yeah, it's that like kind of
it's almost corally.
Pinky corally swimming in that area.
But the house is like full Japandi.
Yeah, it's
birch.
light wood.
Light
yes,
wood.
a light wood. White.
Yeah.
Clean lines. Mm-hmm. Welcome to our podcast where we just talk about the aesthetics
of dating shows.
There are, at the beginning, there are four couples that have all broken up in the past who come back together to live in a house for 3 weeks.
Yes.
In which point they will interdate.
Exchange exes.
They will exchange exes. No one is to know. They're not to reveal who the exes are to each other. And the show ekes that information out over time as it sees fit for their narrative.
And as for the audience to play around with, to figure out,
And then at the end of the show, maybe more people will join. We don't know. Last time there were 2 more couples that came in after the show had started. Mm-hmm. So maybe more people will join. By the end of the show, they have to decide, do they want to get back with their ex? Do they want to start something new with someone else? Or are they just
leaving the show single?
Yeah. I mean, technically, I think they have to make a choice about a person.
Yeah.
But if they don't link, then LOL, bye.
Soul.
Last season was a true delight.
Last season, I watched this video of Busong Kwan, Moonbin.
Yep. Our beloved.
Eunbi and Sinbi from Vivi's. Watch the final episode. Before I watch this YouTube video, I want to watch this whole show so I can watch
You had no idea what you were getting
I had no idea that it was going to be 24 episodes of 2-hour episodes.
Yeah. It's
and now here we are.
2 straight days of television.
And I had no idea until I started watching it that everyone in Korea watched this.
Girl, this show...
Like, it felt like a blueprint to... I mean, obviously, all of the shows that we watch here, we kept coming back to it.
Yeah. I think it's the fact that it's, like, super high stakes. Because you learn, as the audience, you learn their entire past relationship and why they
broke up. Why it ended.
And ex-couples who would agree to be on the show, you're not breaking up because of, like, cheating or stuff like that. Like, it's not, like, big stuff. There are things where it's like, oh, maybe it was just where you were at in your life at that point. Maybe it's a circumstance of time. So it's like all these couples who like have
tried elements, and made it work.
Right. But have elements that feel like it might work again. Yes. So you do want to like, it's so weird because on Change Days, you are fully rooting for nobody to end up together.
Yes. You're like, this is why you shouldn't be together.
You have to stop.
Yeah.
This must end.
Do you think...
Exchange, all you are doing is rooting for them to get back together. Well, not always.
Not always. But it does... Do you think that makes a difference of like the end of the rope versus coming back?
Yeah, because I think there's growth that's happened already.
That's true.
Because on change days, it's couples that are at the end of the rope.
Yes.
They're like on the rocks. They're contemplating breaking up. They're constantly fighting. And the idea is like they're going to spend 2 weeks interdating to figure out if they really want to like stay together and work on it. But like no one's changing during that time. I mean, like it's fun to watch as a viewer because like they get themselves so worked up.
Right.
But you're not really like becoming a new person, I guess, on that show.
Unlike here, it feels like you could be dating again, like a new person.
Right. You may have learned what was wrong with the relationship. Maybe you've bettered your communication skills, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're making more money.
And so here, the men are dating the women.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. I mean, it's not there. Listen, it's not set in stone.
That's true.
I also want to say about Exchange, I think they have I think they have my favorite panel of like commentators.
Yes. This group is playing along, but they're also like enjoying watching it.
Yes, for sure. And they have brought in, so Bam Bam was kind of the main fifth chair last time, but Bam Bam is busy being a legend, being an icon.
It is funny because they were like, well, he got so popular during the show last year that
he got so popular from Exchange. Yeah. So they have Ryeoun romanized. He was in Twinkling Watermelon.
Yes,
we heard of that. Okay, Lee Young-jin. Mm-hmm. Simon D.
Yes.
And he's now going by his birth name this year, but I can't remember what it is. Yura, Kim Ye-won, and Ryeoun.
Sure.
Yeah.
Bam Bam will come back at a later date when
he will probably come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk about the show. So in the classic Korean dating show format, they come in, and the first rule of the show is like you cannot reveal your age or your occupation because it's such a fucking thing. It's like such a class determinator.
Determinate. Just say talk.
Okay, so the first one in is Kwang Tae. He what's to say about Kwang Tae? Kwang Tae, as the episode progresses,
becomes like the host of the house.
Maybe the chef. Maybe
the chef. Very
got knife
warm,
skills.
Very inviting. He's super friendly to everyone.
He's an ENFJ.
He's an ENFJ. Me and Sung Han Bin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's definitely got good energy.
Yeah. There were moments where he looked like Chaemin, the Music Bank host.
Mm-hmm.
And then at moments he looked like Subin. So I was like, what's going on?
Oh, I didn't see that at all. So that's Kwang Tae. Then we have Hye-won who comes in. She's wearing this
blue blouse.
Blue dress.
Yes.
It's a dress.
It's a dress.
Yeah.
But it's like shaped like a blouse because it's like puffy sleeve.
It's like tunic energy.
Yeah, it's giving tunic.
She's very cute. She's quiet. Quiet girly. We'll get back to her in a bit. Okay, then we have Dongjin. So we have Dongjin. Now Dongjin, on first glance,
chaebol ass.
It's giving like rich.
In his man, I called Youngie chaebol ass.
Yeah.
When he's like, I don't have a job.
Not. But Youngie, I mean, that was Youngie's thing. Was like it was a surprise that how young he was because he doesn't look young.
But because he was a former like national athlete, basically.
Yeah.
So Dongjin looks rich.
Rich. Anybody rich?
Looks very put together.
Yes, he's very handsome. He was very like K-drama handsome. Yeah. I feel like
he also feels he might be the oldest.
That's what I wondered. Do you think? I don't think it's him.
I think it's him or the next girl that you're
Juwon.
They're introduced. No, the girl after that.
Oh, the girl.
Girl.
Yeah, this is the one show where we do have to be clear about pronouns.
When I say Miss Girl or the girl. Yeah.
On first glance, one might say mask brooding, he just has this like I think he's he's INTP. So he is like an
Just very
introverted,
serious,
quiet.
thinks a lot.
Yeah, he's a thinker. We may come to find out that he's a bit of a softie on the inside.
Yeah. So this was something you were like, when in dating shows, I lean in on the soft man.
Well, because here's the thing. Last season of Exchange, oh
there
my
was
God.
a perfect specimen of a man named One Bin.
The ideal. The ideal, if your ideal is like soft boy, the ideal soft boy was on, and his name was One Bin, and he cried a lot, and he was very sweet and caring.
He watered the plants every single day.
He watered the plants every day. It was like he was playing Animal Crossing. It was great.
Yes.
I don't know if we're going to get that same energy this season.
I don't think so.
But I'm always on the lookout for who's maybe a little bit more emotional.
Yes. Dongjin might be the one.
Yeah. Next we have Juwon.
Juwon is a Miss Curly Q.
Juwon
has a perm. And it's funny because the boys asked, like, did you choose to get one, or do you just need you need it or something?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I chose to do it. I've been doing it for like 9 years or something.
That's
like
crazy. That takes a very specific. I mean, because so like Juwon. Okay.
Street clothes.
Think about this though. There is such a standard of beauty in Korea, and if you're going to get a perm, it's going to be the like loose wavy perm.
Yeah.
It is not this like 1989 perm.
The sun'll come out.
Yes. Ice Spice. It's a statement to be like, oh, I'm going against the grain. So I wonder, does he have maybe a more artistic profession?
That's
is he in the music industry?
They were asking like what neighborhoods they're in, and they were like, oh, that's where like a lot of musicians live.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was. Would you say there's one in Chicago?
I would not say like by occupation, but like there are definitely neighborhoods where it's like, oh, the hipsters. Well, nobody says hipsters anymore.
Says hipster. You're a millennial, girl.
I'm such a millennial.
He would definitely live.
But like if I said Dongjin lived in Fulton Market, you would know exactly who that is.
Dongjin is Fulton Market.
It's very finance bro.
Yeah, Juwon is definitely Wicker Park,
Roscoe Village.
Yeah,
not even Roscoe.
Wicker Park, I think like Blue Line.
Not Wicker Park.
Humboldt.
No, the other one farther out. Logan Square.
Oh, Logan Square.
Logan Square. Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
Which is the new Wicker Park. Because Wicker Park now is like a crumble.
Yeah. A crumble cookie, girl. A sweet green.
A sweet green. What are we doing? Okay. Thank you for taking this journey of Chicago neighborhoods
girlies
with
are
us.
eating.
You know what? We all have to hear about New York neighborhoods every other minute.
Yeah.
So.
Bitch. Hell's Kitchen.
Fuck off.
Sure.
Next is Dahye.
Dahye. Now, Dahye. When she
is
walks
one of the
in,
most stunning specimens I've ever seen. Yes.
Stuntralina. Miss Girl.
That's okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That's Miss Girl.
Miss Girl. And when she comes in, the panel is like,
I know her? Wait a minute. Bitch. Now wait a damn minute. Is that Clark Kent?
Is that Miss Girl?
Yeah. Later they are like, I think she was
in a group called Bestie. Should I look it up now?
Look it up now.
Verify.
Bestie girl group.
Bestie. Pita Pat is their debut single, 2013.
2013. So early Gen 3?
They disbanded in 2018.
Oh, okay. Is it her? It is her?
Uh-huh. Dahye. June 12th, 1993.
Okay, she's a year younger than us.
Song Dahye.
Seokhyung is the next one. She's got in these big black boots. Also gorgeous girly. Then we have Huihyun, who's in a pink suit.
Pink suit.
Huihyun, we again don't know ages, but he feels the youngest to me.
Even
Juwon feels the oldest to me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Instead of Dongjin?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I mean, especially if he said he was doing curly hair for 9 years. Huihyun feels the youngest to me.
Yeah. He's very like doe-eyed this entire episode.
Yes. And the fact that his girlfriend was older, we'll talk about it in a minute, but his girlfriend was older than him. So that's why I was like, oh, I think he is the official youngest on the show. Hugh Chung.
Hugh
Chung.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Has the Chanel jacket.
Yes.
Chanel inspired jacket.
She felt the most K-beauty to me.
There's something about
Miss
her.
Girl.
Another Miss Girl. So Dongjin, okay, so they're figuring out who's rooming with who.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I think the house last year was a little bit better in terms of like at least they had their own beds. Nobody was bunk bedding.
Yes.
The girls are bunk bedding this year.
The girls are bunk bedding.
And I mean the literal girls.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
yeah, but not the men.
Put the men in the bunk beds. Also, those bedrooms feel way smaller than the boys' rooms.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
And I'm like, you know who needs more space with more clothes? Girls.
Did they have a secret room in the last house, or they just they fit more beds in the rooms, right?
Yes. The secret room reveal is crazy.
Yeah.
Not even in this, I mean, how there's that like private room.
Little attic in the boys' room upstairs.
Again, the boys should not be getting. Boys don't deserve this with its own terrace.
No.
The boys do not deserve this. No boy on earth deserves this.
But Dongjin has to pick which room if he wants to be upstairs or downstairs. And he's like, well, can I go look through the rooms real quick? And they're like, sure. He goes and sits in the room downstairs and then just cries.
And starts crying. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if he starts crying? And then he started crying. And I was like, oh. And the rest of the episode, he's like,
he is in a somber mood all day. Like he can't shake it off.
He's like the only one who's like,
this is weird that my ex is here.
Yes.
And that I'm watching her like talk to other men.
Yeah.
Which is
very affecting.
So this is when the narrative started building up that it could be Hyewon. Because Hyewon and
Dongjin.
Kwangtae.
Kwangtae.
Because Hyewon and Kwangtae were hitting it off.
Like immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were kind of like being playful.
Well, they were the first two that came in.
And
they did like a tour of the house.
Because when she walked in, he was writing something on the board. So it like it wasn't our entrance where they had to like sit politely in the couch.
Yeah.
It kind of like they forced like breaking the ice.
Yeah.
And I think that helped kick this off.
Yeah.
For them.
And then Dongjin being next.
Noticed that.
That was why it seemed like the narrative was maybe that they were exes and he was like already suspicious. And there's a lot in the episode of like them just focusing on the two of them to like kind of build that narrative.
The one thing we have to say about the show is the editing.
Don't trust. Best editors in television right now are Exchange 3 and ZBTV. Okay? Hands down. Give them the Pulitzer. They'll just find any of these moments. And like at the end of the day, of course, I know how editing works, and it could be just any moment that she looked away. It could be 20 minutes after the fact, but like the way you have the audio set up, it's like from girl, it's so good.
I don't think that's still like manipulating anything, right? Because they're still building
first of all, the
a
audience
mystery.
can't vote.
That's true.
So that helps.
That helps. That we're just watching. But like they're trying to fool you to figure it out.
Right.
So,
and the scenes where they go to like the cafe before, like a week before they end up on the show.
Before the show started, there's a cafe Tic Tac lunch
with Rue.
Rue with the exes, and the editing is like they phase in and out between who they're talking to, so you don't know who their ex is.
And I think they have. I mean, maybe they don't, but it seems like they all have like similar questions they're supposed to ask each other.
Yes.
Or that's just how all
people
the
talk.
Questions like that normally get asked, like how have you been, stuff like that. So somebody will ask, and like the other person will respond, and then it'll swap out the person that responds back, and it's like you are not. It's very hard to guess who the exes are.
Yeah.
And there was one girl in whoever Dongjin's girlfriend was cried because he had to get up and give her a Kleenex.
But they showed, I think, 2 or 3 girls crying.
Yes.
So.
They split up to one team is gonna like cook and grocery shop, and the other team I think is like gonna clean the house.
Yeah.
After dinner, my guess. Haewon, Juwon, Dongjin, and Yoojung all stay at home, and they
And Mama-
receive the
Crickets.
no one's talking.
Literally like
the vibes are not good.
Weird, huh?
I think they're all.
eyes.
Yeah, I think they're all eyes. There's a lot of eyes this season.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a pretty healthy mix last season.
So last season they had at least everyone was different. No one had a repeated MBTI.
Yes.
It feels like all the I's stayed home and all the E's left.
Yes, it
'Cause-
does feel that way.
Yeah.
And then everybody else was Kwangtae, Dahye, Seokhyung, and Huiyeon all went out to grocery shop.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit it off, and they were having a fun time.
They're like fun. Kwangtae and Dahye are like kikiing.
Yeah.
They're having fun. They feel the most open. Like open to the
At this
process.
point in the show, Kwangtae is probably my favorite
Yes.
person on the show.
He's the most charismatic. He's
Yes.
like the most dynamic.
He feels very like personable.
Mm-hmm.
They get back, they're cooking. Kwangtae, as I said, has knife skills. So
the
is he a
girls
chef?
were, and that's the thing. It's not even just like, oh, you cook well. It's da 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 da. da. Master Chef, bitch.
Yeah. Chop, 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 chop.
Chopped,
So then,
not chopped. Chopped Food Network.
yes, no, I got that.
Allen.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking Legendary.
Chopped.
The show that doesn't exist in any format anymore because we live in the worst fucking timeline. David Zaslav, you will be dealt with for the crimes you have
and believe.
Trust and believe you will be dealt with for the crimes you've committed against, I don't know, art and culture.
Last season, there was like one or two people that could cook.
Yes, it was very.
Tae was the only one that could cook.
Yeah.
Everyone,
season, it
did
seems like everybody but-
everyone could.
I think
Everyone, would you-
Dongjin, because Dongjin's like, I can make
I
really
make
good
good
ramyun, which is my energy. That's
Yeah.
what I would come in with, because I can.
Girl, you're a girl dinner girl. Open the.
I am a girl dinner, but I can make ramyun. We don't own any.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Yes, we do. If you check
Did you buy some?
Yes. Before our diet started, I went to
Perfect.
Jongbu and bought ramyeon.
We're not sponsored. Could you imagine if Bulldog Ramen sponsored us?
Can you guys do, while talking about Exchange 2,
That would be
3,
wild.
could you like burn your mouths with our bulldog sauce?
And then the doorbell rings, and they receive some packages. Now we thought, oh, it's letters, because
It's the
last
letters. Last
season
year-
they did like introductions of
By
their
the-
exes by letter, and they all read them aloud together.
Yes.
And it was the first time Wonbin cried, and that was the moment that I fell in love with him. But it was not that. There's 8 packages, and it is items from their ex to them, and they cannot open them in front of everybody else. They're supposed to open them privately.
What did you think of this?
That is a great question.
Because I was watching it and I was like, this is very interesting.
You know, we haven't even talked about how this starts. They have to go before they even walk into this house. They have to walk into a room and decide to cut the string to fully like
Say,
symbolize that they're
I'm
severing ties
with their ex.
or
keep
tie a
it.
knot and I want to try again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that has any real.
It's just another added element, I think, to add to the drama.
Yeah, and there's a lot of red strings around this season.
Yes. Threads of fate.
What did you think about the packages? I felt like it was a little early. But it does a really good job at getting people into the headspace of already being
I
like,
think that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think it to get them into the headspace though.
Yeah.
Like before you get comfortable.
remember. Yeah.
I do think that obviously all the relationships are going to be different levels of like how long they dated, the stakes that they're coming into it with their exes. So I definitely felt that based on what they got.
Well, and it's interesting too because what you receive, you don't know the reason
and that's
for
the thing.
why they sent it.
And I don't know why. I want to know what they were told.
There's only one person that we know why. Well,
Very clear why.
Yes.
Well, I don't even.
You're talking about the nothing, right?
Someone does not get a pack. Someone gets an empty box.
Hyewon gets an empty box.
Hyewon gets an empty box. And
she knows immediately why she gets.
She knows immediately why. But I could also think like
it's weird because they have to pick up the boxes. So somebody picked it up and was like,
"This is light, girl."
There
is one box that is ginormous.
There's
one box
that
gets a giant box.
Ginormous box. I think it could be Dongjin.
I think it's Dongjin too.
That feels very.
Dongjin feels like I take care of her. Like I
bought her massive teddy bears.
Okay, let's do packages one at a time. And what you think?
Yu Chung opens her box,
and it's a pair
of sneakers that she had bought for her ex, and he gave them back to her. Okay,
so
here's the thing. This is how to. If it feels like it hurts more if it's a gift, right? If you gave someone a gift and they return the gift, that feels shitty.
Yeah.
As opposed to like you left the teddy bear feels like
this was yours. Yes. I gave it to you originally. Right. You left it in my apartment.
Right.
Give it back to you.
Okay.
Because she is like, I can't use these shoes. These are your shoes.
These are men's shoes.
What am I gonna do with the men's shoes for the next 3 weeks?
Right.
Which I didn't make that connection when I was watching it, but talking about it now, I was like, oh yeah, what the fuck is she gonna do with these shoes?
What is she gonna do with these shoes? What are any of them gonna do with any of these items?
Yeah.
Hwang Tae gets photos
of
him and his ex adopted a kitten together, Max.
Uh-huh.
And the cat now lives with his ex, and it's photos of Max growing up. Now, this isn't even... Okay, this is like, I think, stretching the lines of like...
What could be in the package.
Because like...
But that's what I'm saying. The person who gave an empty box could have done something like that, but they didn't. So there is still an intention.
Okay, but not too much on Hui Hyun, because I like Hui Hyun.
I do, but it's...
I think it makes a lot of sense when he tells his story.
Okay. But yes, the co-parenting a pet, I mean...
I'd just give you Friedrich back.
I don't want you to suffer.
I would you should send him back to you.
No, I know how much you love Friedrich, and I think you should be together. I will acquiesce.
Quickly, Dongjin decides that he does not want to open his package because he's already in a mood.
He's already in a place.
Would you open the package?
Yeah.
I don't think I could help myself.
Yeah.
I think it's smarter to probably not open the package.
Especially on the first night. When you already know you're in a funk, you already feel this way. You already feel like you're the only one that feels this way. Dongjin feels he's the only one affected by this.
Yes. I think he might be right now.
Yeah. And to be like, I don't want to continue feeling like I'm an outsider by making it worse by opening this. But you were like, the fact that he even like covers it up.
Well, this is like, there's so much, you get so used to the cameras being there, you just start to do things that your body would just like do, that you just choose to do. He like sets it down and then he purposefully covers his box up with clothes to like hide it so he won't like have to look at it every day.
Yeah.
And it's like a subconscious thing that your brain chooses to do to protect yourself. And I was like, Ooh, girl, the show is so...
He doesn't open it.
Juwon
receives a book that he had bought his ex.
During an argument. Correct. What was the book? Did they say what it was about?
It wasn't like a self-help, but it was kind of like you're the places you'll go.
Yeah.
It's like
It was a Seuss.
It was one fish, two fish.
It was one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. I'm skipping Hui Hyun and Hyewon for just a moment. And
because I think they're going to take up the rest of the episode.
Seokyoung gets Pokemon hats that they had got together during Halloween.
Mm-hmm. They wore costumes.
Which are very
together.
cute. It was a couple's costume.
If you look at the picture, they like cropped out the other person.
Yes. And then Dahye, as we said, gets Bandal, which is a massive teddy bear. She knew as soon as she got the box that that's what it was going to be.
She lifted it and it wasn't heavy.
And she was like, I don't even know if I want to open it. Should I open it? She's like, because she's rooming with Seokyoung, and she's like, should I even open it?
Yeah.
And she's like, I opened mine. She's like, okay, and then opens it, and it's exactly what she thinks it is.
And they put it in the corner. They're like,
she doesn't take it out.
no.
Now we have our first couple reveal.
So this gagged
The girls. And the girls, we mean us.
Because they didn't reveal an ex like maybe 3-4 episodes in last season. I believe it was Wonbin and
I think it was
Jisoo.
Wonbin was the first. It was Wonbin's couple was the first couple they revealed. I think it was episode 3.
Yeah. So we were like, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And
yeah, I was very shocked.
And Hui-hyun is with Hye-won.
Yes, they're the exes.
couple. So Adam, first tell me what's in the boxes.
So Hui-hyun's box is a bag of candy.
And he explains that he used to work a lot of part-time jobs, and one of them
many
part-time
We'll come back to that.
And one of them was at a candy store, so he bought her candy. Mm-hmm. But it was like a new bag of candy that he received.
Yes.
And then
Hye-won's box is empty.
And he says...
And she opened it in the foyer.
Yeah.
She was like, girl, I know
it's empty.
I already know it's empty.
I know. Because I think this is why they had to reveal it right away. There's no way you can edit out one person not giving anything. It feels like this already is why they broke up.
Yeah.
So Hui-hyun says it in his that like, I gave my ex nothing.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anything to give her.
Because I never gave her anything.
I never gave her anything.
In our entire relationship, I never gave her anything.
Okay,
it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good.
So their drama is that Hui-hyun's family was not in a great financial position. So all of his jobs, he was using the money to like help his family. Mm-hmm. So he had none left over.
He had
for
like
her.
60 cents in his name.
That was by the time he told her that he was like broke ass.
Yeah. They were in university together. He is younger. She's older by like a year, I believe.
Okay, yes. She's I think. Oh no, we just assumed that. We don't know for sure.
Okay. But she was a senior student.
Yes, like, and he had already done his military conscription.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They met because he was in a play.
Oh.
And she messaged him and was like, I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I don't usually go for younger guys.
He was the exact opposite of the type she usually goes for.
Yeah.
And she, I think, fell really quickly for... I think they both fell really quickly for each other. So, a couple things. This is why... Okay.
Are we putting on our doctor hats
We're
now?
putting on our doctor hats.
Doctor loves.
So, he's younger. This is strike one. In terms of like, I'm not saying it is a strike, but I'm saying in terms of like general understanding of how couples, like the idyllic couple is like older man, not younger, but like
older man.
Yeah. And he pays for everything.
Yep.
Okay. That's the traditionally whatever. That is the standard. Mm-hmm. So younger man off on the wrong foot. She's paying for
everything.
Not everything, but so she says that she would pay for like more than half of stuff, but she was fine with it. She always makes it very clear that she was like, it was never never was burdened by it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure she saw how hard he was working. Because he talks about how he was like, I had this job, that job, the other job.
I had a part-time job and then I went to class and then I went to another part-time job.
And then I had a part-time job on the weekends.
Yeah.
He had like 4 jobs at one time in addition to like being a full-time student, which is crazy. For Hui-hyun, who is younger and has, I think, internalized a lot of the problems that come with when you're like, oh, a man should pay for everything, right?
it becomes his whole thing that this is a failure.
He's way too proud.
Yes, this relationship failed because I never bought her anything. I never got to pay for anything.
Yes.
It's
so crazy because the whole time you're like, she's going to get so annoyed that he's complaining about this that she's like, Linda, let's just end it.
Yes.
No, girl. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. He broke up with her.
And lies.
And he told her he didn't like her anymore. And that he didn't even truly know what love was. And the way that she could recite the exact sentences he told her back to him.
Because in their Tic Tac lunch, he says, do you remember the last thing I said? And she says it
verbatim
for word. Because during that Tic Tac lunch, I was like, oh, she's pressed. Because she was like, I had a great year because I didn't think about you. She said that.
Yes. And he was like, aren't you being a little cold? And she was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why
she agreed
to do the show, because they both have to agree to be on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, maybe she wants a chance to like
make sure that it
like closure. Like, she cuts the ribbon. At the beginning of the episode. She's the only one we see make a choice at the top of the episode. She cuts the ribbon.
He does not.
So we probably should have known that we were going to find out pretty early.
He does not cut the ribbon. He does not tie a bow. He walks away. He leaves the thread.
Yes.
I almost think that she wants to know if that's the truth or not. But that's the thing. In this Tic Tac lunch, he says it. He was like, I actually lied to you.
Yes.
I didn't tell you the real reason why I didn't want to be in a relationship with her is because I didn't feel like I deserved you or I deserved a relationship at all because of where I was.
He says he felt so small.
Yeah.
Which is that is heartbreaking to feel that way. But the way you overcome that is by talking about it, not keeping
lying.
Quiet.
Yeah, that is a K-drama.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. It is. I definitely cried watching this whole segment because like
she
I would be so affected.
I would be so affected. I would be like
date someone. Okay, so they dated from March to August of 2022.
Yeah,
and it has been 1 year and 2 months since they broke up.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, girl. She says the line where she was like, "Everyone I've ever dated, I've always thought they were the last person I'd ever date," and. Oh my God, I feel so bad. I feel bad. I genuinely do feel bad for both of them.
For both, yeah.
Because it does suck to be in a financial situation where you feel like powerless.
Absolutely. And and the thing is, you shouldn't. And I think he could tell that he's like, I know I shouldn't feel this way.
Yes.
But I can't help it because real life is hard.
Yes.
Especially if you're a person who...
Let us millennials tell you that adulting is hard.
And here's my top 10 ways to
grow your Roth IRA.
He decides to do the show because he's like, I got scholarships, I got booked, I'm getting work.
Yeah.
I feel like I can actually date you now because I have money. So I want to try this again.
I don't
know if that's because you lied about that was like the problem. I think it's done, girl.
The problem is like, if he was going to break up and didn't lie, his reasoning would be like, I feel bad that I can't provide for you.
Yeah.
But I think that would then, there is a level that I do think if he had said that, it would put the burden on her of being like, but am I making you feel like that? Is there something I'm doing that making you feel like you need to provide for me?
Yeah.
And so I think in his head, maybe he was trying to spare her that.
Yeah.
But to then go to the other end of the spectrum and be like,
I'll just make you hate me. That'll just be the easiest thing to do. Men.
Why are men? Period, question mark.
That is so crazy for men to do.
Not all men. Yes, all men. sickos.
I don't know what to expect from this couple.
But the candies she got him, she was eating like one candy a day, and then they finally got hard. So she didn't give those back to him. She went out and specifically bought him new candies. And he gave her nothing.
I know.
And they have like clips of them together, and they're so cute.
They're very cute. Very young love.
So puppy love.
Yeah. Like them just like, and that's, okay. She says, I never really wanted, that didn't matter to me at all.
She was
I just
fine.
really liked him.
Yeah. She loved spending time with him.
Because he was like, he was not my type anyway, so why would I? So she already knew that like, it's just because it's him. It's him. I mean, it's crazy to do a couple reveal in the first episode.
It's crazy
right?
to do a couple reveal in the first episode. So who do you think? Okay, so that's the end of the episode. They tease in the next episode that there's going to be.
They are getting the X letters.
They're getting the letters.
So I'm ready to fucking cry.
I'm gonna
bitch.
cry for sure.
I'm ready.
Who do you think? So you think Dongjin?
I think Dongjin and Dahye.
Dahye.
They feel the most like mature, sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they had an adult. They are now adults, and I don't think they were adults in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like Haein from last season, where it's like maybe they were together like in all of their 20s, and now they're in their early 30s. It's like,
yeah.
It feels like he's crying about a lot of time lost.
I'm very curious to see what their story is because he's crying already.
He's crying already from picking a room just by seeing her.
Yes. Seeing her be like comfortable with other people.
Yeah. Which makes me think you probably didn't see her.
It's such like a crazy. It's crazy to want to. I couldn't imagine wanting to do the show because the mental gymnastics.
Well, will be together forever.
The mental gymnastics you have to do to
and no
be like,
trip to Thailand or Korea is going to change that, Adam. Don't you forget. Mark Packin is not going to fall in love with you.
Yes, he is. The mental gymnastics you have to do in order to be like, the conceit of the show is you have to pretend that you don't know anybody.
I know. And
for the show to work. Truly for the show to work, you have to do that. And it's probably part of the contract that you are supposed to at least try your hardest to not reveal.
And honestly, it's the best part of the show.
It is.
Because it creates the conflict that...
Because then there's some conflict that comes out of it. Because last season, when Haein avoiding her because he was worried that if he showed her too much, then they'd figure it out. So he was trying to do the opposit. But he went, again, men went way too far in the other direction. It was like being mean to her.
That she was like, what the fuck?
And she wanted to come in on his birthday. That was, guys.
But because that bitch quit the show or got fired from the show because she was in a relationship. Oh my God. Girl.
Oof.
Okay, so yes, I do think Dongjin and Dahye.
Okay. So I have a feeling that one boy and one girl do not have their respective partners there.
I agree. I don't think Juwon's ex is here yet.
I disagree.
Oh.
I think Kwang Tae's ex is not there.
You don't think Kwang... Because he is so open and...
He just seems like a person right now on the show who's like,
I'm dating.
I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah. What if it's all of them?
and I don't think Seokyoung's boyfriend is there either.
Shoes? Christmas shoes?
No, Yoo Jung was Christmas shoes.
Oh, Yoo Jung was Christmas shoes.
Seokyoung was the Pikachu hats.
Yeah, I agree. She had a really fun time at grocery shopping.
I don't know any of these guys that feel like they are doing Pikachu couples costumes.
None of these feel Pikachu.
No. Maybe a Rat-a-tat. Sorry. I don't know. That's the only... A Pidgeot. Maybe Piplup.
Yeah. I'm going to name you some wild
Eevee.
Pokemon names.
Okay.
Flamigo.
Is it a flamingo?
It's a flamingo.
Okay, great.
Stonejourner. truth? Ju-won and Christmas shoes don't feel like they're together.
I think they do. Look at those shoes.
They were like street.
They were like cool guy shoes. I think the panel said that too. I agree with the panel. I usually don't agree with the panel,
Yeah.
but I did agree with that one thing. With that one little thing.
And she would bring back a gift. Well, that's the thing. But she also returned a gift then.
What?
She was so upset that he returned the gift. Ju-won gets the book back that he bought her from a fight.
Yes.
So she did the same thing?
Yeah, but a book from a fight feels very different than the Christmas present I got you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, because that was specifically like we were fighting and I bought you a book.
Yeah. It's like a peace treaty.
offering.
Yeah.
Okay. Because then that way it's like this symbolizes that we fought a lot, girl.
Yes.
That you had to feel like you kept having to do this.
Yes.
But then for her, it's like, bitch, this was a gift.
And also just like, I know nothing about Ju-won. Know nothing about him so far.
Except curly cues.
I would not, if their thing was we fight a lot, I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me.
Especially if he's a creative type.
Yes. I was just going to say it's giving very like troubled genius energy.
Yes. He's staying all hours of the night producing. I think he's a music producer. That's my... Or...
It's a good guess.
Or like a music video director.
Or a DJ.
Oh, God. It's like works late.
It's one reason
you could be fighting.
You'd be annoyed.
Well, there you go. We're sat.
I love that.
I love it.
I love it. And, you know, if you head over to our Patreon,
You could watch the episode with us.
you can tag along.
So there you go.
See you next week.